So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for coming along today. I really appreciate you taking your time out of the busy agenda that's on to come and listen to me. My name is Paul Hammond. I work for a company called Agilicis, who many of you, I'm sure, will know. Probably lots of you know some of our products, Infogenesis, Book for Time, amongst various others. But confession, I guess, first of all, from my side of things. This presentation, I think we've heard a lot about AI already today, particularly in that sort of last session. This presentation was written largely by AI, by Copilot. We use Copilot extensively through the business, and I do feel, bizarrely, a sense of guilt for doing that. In my defence, it's not my original work. I'm not trying to kind of purport this is my original work. I'm summarising effectively a 20-page report, which will be available on the last slide of the deck through an amazing QR code. And that report was based on revenue beyond the room, as you see in the title there. And it was about the analysis of the real gap between guest-centric revenue aspirations and the readiness of the industry to actually be able to go and deliver that. The report was written by subject matter experts from interviews and responses they received from about 500 hoteliers across the world. Reasonably even split in terms of independent hoteliers versus management companies. So coming back to my sense of guilt, I uploaded that report into Copilot. I gave it some kind of context in terms of what its purpose was, what the audience was, the time slot that I'd got, and amazingly, about sort of 5 minutes later, it produced this set of slides, and these set of slides are unadulterated. I've not changed the flow of these, the pictures, the text that's actually on screen. I did go in there and change, or asked it to adapt it to my kind of tone of voice, use smaller words, probably a bit more swearing as we get into the evening tonight. But largely this is it. So something that used to take me probably a day and a half or 2 days to go and achieve, you've literally got probably in total, probably about an hour and a half. And we're listening this morning, how many were in that sort of initial session on the UK and on things like productivity. I think AI is testament to that. That level of productivity you get from using technology, and I sort of caught the back end of the session before. If there's one thing that I guess I'm biased as a technology vendor. Take advantage of technology. It's there. It's coming. AI is going to be a transformative impact on your business. So wherever you can, absolutely go and use it. I even got to the point actually. I kind of got when you go down a path, you kind of get carried away by things. And I don't know if anybody's used Hume.ai, Hume. If you've not, honestly, it's go and take a look at it. I think if any of you are struggling in terms of what AI is, going to Hume.ai is a great example of the power that thing has. You can go there. It's quite a surreal experience because you can go and clone your own voice to start off with. Then you can have a conversation in real time with largely an AI bot, but it sounds pretty much like yourself. So honestly, just go out there and try it for yourself. It's it's astonishing. So in recognition of Copilot, I am going to read quite a lot of what Copilot's produced because it's pretty good, probably better than I could have actually put together. I have, in fairness, I have read the report. I've sanity checked and fact checked what's coming through. None of us want another panorama moment. We all quite like Jane, and we don't want to go and see her suffer the same fate as Tim Davey. That's for sure. So, but just before I get into the presentation for real, Quick show of hands, hoteliers in the room? Oh, lots of you, that's great. Okay. Any vendors here? Move on. Quick question in terms of, I'm your fairy godfather. You come into your office one morning and for the next 3 months, you can choose from having 100% occupancy at your current RevPAR or 70% occupancy but at 140% of current RevPAR levels. Don't need to give me a show of hands, more of a kind of a reflective question to go and have. But it just kind of come to the point that we're talking about today. It's the question that gets to the heart of why we're here, and it's about shifting from room-centric values to guest-centric values. I think we've heard a lot again, this morning, about this focus on the guest, and that's really where RevPAG comes in. Revenue per available guest. I'm sure it's a metric that many of you have already kind of looked at, discussed, talked about. But it is just more, and the more I kind of read about it, it is just more than just a KPI. It's a guiding principle. I think it's kind of a new lens for kind of growth and loyalty, repeat visits, and long-term profitability and success. Whether that's an independent hotel or whether it's a chain of hotels. I think part of the reason I've banged on about the importance of AI and the fact that I've used AI so productively today is that if you're looking at RevPAG as a principle, and you perhaps not in today and tomorrow, but in due course, if you're looking to kind of tick up those RevPAG values, AI is going to be fundamental to you being able to go and deliver that, because it's about those touch points, whether those touch points are digital touch points or human touch points, having context, being aware of what guest preferences are, what they've already consumed, what they're planning to consume during the course of their stay, are fundamentally important. So, why is it important? The study itself highlights the fact that the industry is undergoing this transformational change. It's driven by, as we've heard from various sort of speakers this morning, this evolving expectation from guests and advances in technology. Travellers today are no longer just satisfied with comfortable accommodation, a rainfall shower. They're looking for these immersive, personalised experiences that extend beyond the room. That shift can lead to a significant increase in non-room revenue. Some of our own customers that are here today are already enjoying close to 50% of their income from non-room revenue, and that is something that's sustainable and gives you that level of success. That rise of experiential travel has prompted hoteliers to rethink a lot of their sort of value propositions, focusing on deliverable, memorable moments that resonate with guests, where each and every interaction contributes to the overall satisfaction and engenders again that kind of loyalty, comment on social that drives again more demand, more bookings in terms of your own hotel. So this transformation really sets the stage for adoption of a new performance metric, like RevPAG, which captures the overall value experienced and hopefully enjoyed by every guest. So why does RevPAG matter? Unlike RevPAR, which largely focuses on room revenue, RevPAG collates all of the revenue streams associated with a guest stay, whether that's about dining, whether it's about spa services, retail purchases, any other activities and amenities which you as a hotelier decide to go and offer to guests. By adopting RevPAG, I think hoteliers get real understanding, real insight in terms of the total value a guest brings to a property, the preferences, the spending habits, And knowing all of that information enables highly personalised marketing, back to that same guest or to their wider family. And the industry is moving towards those more personalised experiences. RevPAG provides that framework for evaluating success and really driving long-term profitability. Its adoption signals a commitment to redefining hospitality excellence and positioning properties for sustained growth in what we all know is a hugely competitive market where everyone's fighting for that same dollar spend from guests. One of the fascinating things in this study, the sort of 500 odd kind of respondents and interviewees, was this aspiration reality gap. It's kind of a wake up and smell the coffee kind of moment. 82% of executives who were interviewed acknowledged the value of RevPAG, but more than half of them, 56%, reported feeling technologically unprepared to actually be able to go and implement it. Some of the critical barriers there that were cited were things like outdated property management systems, siloed data infrastructures, cultural resistance to change. In the same way I feel guilty about Copilot writing this, it's about that kind of cultural mindset and change in attitude and approach. A lot of properties operate on older technology platforms. They really limit the ability to go and integrate real-time data and deliver these personalised guest experiences, which are nowhere in demand. And on top of that, a lack of frequent technology reviews and a low propensity to view, but just 14% of respondents viewed technology as a transformational agent of change within the hotels. And that's going to hinder progress. You've got to be able to go and embrace this and understand it and continually evaluate what's there in the market. So bridging that aspiration reality gap does require investment in connected modern technology, staff training, and organisational restructuring. But for those who can go and address those challenges, they can really unlock the full potential of RevPAG, as we've already said, about transforming guest interactions, meaningful increases in revenue, and setting new standards for operational excellence. The study also found, I guess unsurprisingly, that management companies are best positioned to go and lead that RevPAG transformation. Typically, those management companies have got specialist resource, things like IT, change management resources, and they can go and leverage those assets across multiple properties. The study revealed that 79% of management company executives support RevPAG in terms of a principle, and with stronger strategic alignment compared to independent hotels. Management companies can also implement standardised systems and processes that facilitate cross-property data integration and unified guest profiles. These capabilities enable sophisticated personalisation and revenue optimisation strategies that individual properties, again, might struggle to go and achieve. But it's not all in the favour of management companies. They've got some real challenges there to be able to go and implement standardised policies and processes across what can often be quite diverse properties, everything from sort of boutique hotels to resorts to city centre accommodation. So success in RevPAG implementation does require this balanced approach that leverages those economies of scale whilst also maintaining property-specific customisation. So some more stats coming up here. Strategic priorities for hospitality management reflected a strong alignment with RevPAG principles. Key goals that were cited including new guests, acquiring new guests at 67%, increasing rebookings at 63%, boosting guest revenue at 61%. I thought that one might be higher. And supporting these objectives are initiatives focused on operational improvement, so making things more efficient, saving more money at 72%, enhancing guest experience at 68%, and leveraging data analytics, data-led insights at 64%. So all of these priorities all show a shift towards proactive revenue identification and personalised guest engagement. And by, again, aligning these strategic goals with RevPAG metrics, hospitality executives can create a cohesive framework for growth that really does prioritise guest satisfaction, long-term value and sustainable growth. These priorities also highlight the need for continuous innovation and investment in technology. Clearly, technology never stands still. Competition never stands still. All of those things need to continue to go and increase. So I think we mentioned in a couple of slides ago, in that sort of aspiration reality gap, tech and data represent real obstacles to RevPAG adoption. 45% of management companies interviewed were using PMS platforms that are over 5 years old. Only 12% of properties actually conduct regular technology reviews, so are in reality 88% unaware of what technology can actually bring to them in terms of benefits. But despite those barriers, 72% of executives expressed a willingness to support their technology infrastructure and continue to advance and invest in it. 66% were motivated to switch PMS providers to support those RevPAG principles. And addressing those challenges involved adopting integrated platforms, fostering a culture of innovation, and prioritising data-driven decision-making to unlock the full potential of guest-centric revenue management. Clearly, operational and cultural shifts are a huge part of any change. Staff at all levels need retraining to understand their role in contributing to total guest value, rather than just being historic kind of room revenues. That involved developing new training programs and communication strategies that align with RevPAG principles. Organisational silos between departments have got to be dismantled to go and encourage collaboration across all guest-facing teams, creating cross-functional roles dedicated to monetising hospitality moments can also support that level of integration. And lastly, by no means least, a cultural shift towards viewing every guest interaction as an opportunity to go and create more value is fundamental to, again, ticking up that RevPAG metric. It's a real change in mindset. And I'm sure many of you have heard this Uber analogy before. No surprise there, massively disruptive in that traditional kind of taxi model where it was all about prioritising the revenue per vehicle. The model that they obviously moved to was about serving passenger interests, really understanding who passengers were, being able to go and sell additional services, additional capabilities, and through that continual cycle, getting a deeper understanding of who their customers are. So if you're going to apply that model to hospitality, it really reveals the benefits of focusing on guests, rather than rooms. And by organising systems and processes around the guest, properties can, very good, thank you, can enhance that RevPAG metric. So as we look into methodology, here you are today, here's where you need to go and get to. The strategists came up with this kind of principle of crawl, walk and run. So in the crawl phase, properties assess their current technology stack, where they are today, identifying areas for improvement based on staff input and guest feedback. And that includes recognising revenue opportunities that are currently untapped and defining necessary system connections. The walk phase involves implementing foundational systems that support RevPAG, such as integrated PMS, point of sale, spa, golf, other activities, to create an overall view of guest interactions. And then that run phase finally focuses on fully embedding RevPAG into operations using either advanced analytics or that AI-driven insights and prompts through to digital endpoints and through to human interaction. So as we kind of finish up here, RevPAG is more than just a performance metric. It's a growth strategy for the industry. As competition intensifies, guest experiences evolve, properties that fail to optimise revenue beyond the room are likely to go and fall behind. RevPAG shows hotels that they're progressing in delivering highly personalised experiences, identifying underdeveloped revenue opportunities, and fostering data driven decision making. It supports strategic investments, efficient operations, and targeted marketing, positioning properties for long-term success. So maybe if we kind of revisit that initial question that we posed at the start of here about 100% occupancy in terms of current RevPAR versus 70% occupancy at 140% of RevPAR, perhaps something to go and ponder on over lunch. So on that last slide, let's just move forward here. If anyone wants to download the original report, all of that's there together with the presentation and our details. So thank you very much for your time and your interest today. Most appreciated, and look forward to catching up. Thank you.